Right now, somewhere in Stuttgart, Germany, tournament organizers are staring at their booking systems in complete disbelief. Because what is happening, what is actually, genuinely happening, has never occurred in the history of professional tennis. Not once. Not even close. A 19-year-old girl from the Philippines is about to walk onto a clay court in the heart of Europe. And she is not walking out there alone. She is bringing 60,000 people with her. 60,000 Filipinos from across the continent, across borders, across time zones, all converging on one city, one tournament, one moment. If you think that number sounds impossible, you are not alone. The entire tennis world thought the same thing. Then they checked the ticket sales. Then they checked the hotel bookings. Then they stopped doubting. Alexa Eala is heading to the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix in Stuttgart. And what is unfolding around that trip is not just a sports story. It is something far bigger, far more emotional, and far more historically significant than any scoreline could ever capture. Let's stop for a second and actually visualize what 60,000 people looks like. That is not a crowd. That is a sold-out NFL stadium. That is the entire population of a mid-sized city, picking up and relocating to southern Germany for a tennis tournament. The Porsche Arena, which hosts this prestigious WTA event, holds around 5,000 spectators inside its walls. The overflow of Filipino supporters outside those walls will outnumber the capacity by a factor of 12. The streets, the plazas, the nearby bars and fan zones will be painted in the blue, red, white, and gold of the Philippine flag. Stuttgart has hosted world-class motorsport royalty and some of the finest tennis on the planet, but it has never seen anything like what is coming. Tournament officials are reportedly scrambling right now, reworking security arrangements, rethinking crowd logistics, and trying to figure out how you hospitalize a wave of passion this size. The answer, frankly, is that you cannot fully prepare for it. You just hold on and experience it. To understand why 60,000 people are willing to cross borders for this young woman, you have to understand who she is and what she has already sacrificed to get here. Alexa Eala did not take the comfortable road. She never has. As a young teenager, she made the kind of decision that most adults would hesitate at. She left home and moved thousands of miles away to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. That was not a gap-year adventure. That was a declaration. A statement that she was not interested in being a regional talent. She was coming for the top of the world, and the results have been extraordinary. She became the first Filipino in history to win a junior Grand Slam singles title, lifting the trophy at the US Open Juniors and reducing an entire nation to tears of joy. Since that breakthrough, her transition into the senior professional circuit has been watched with a mixture of pride and intense anticipation by fans across the globe. She has ground through the ITF circuit, collected titles, represented the Philippines at the Asian Games, and brought home bronze medals, ending years of heartbreak in a sport where her country had long been overlooked. Every match she plays, every point she wins, the fan base grows. But this, 60,000 showing up in Germany, this is something else entirely. Here is what the tennis world is only just beginning to understand. The Filipino diaspora is one of the most tightly connected, deeply rooted, and powerfully unified communities on the planet. There are millions of Filipinos living and working across Europe, in the United Kingdom, in Italy, in Spain, in France, and right there inside Germany itself. When word spread that Alexa would be competing in Stuttgart, it moved through those communities like electricity through a wire. Social media lit up. Community group chats organized. Expatriate clubs started planning. This is not a spontaneous gathering. It is a coordinated, deeply intentional pilgrimage. Fans are organizing cross-border carpools. Community leaders have booked out entire hotels. Supporter clubs have choreographed their chants, their flags, and their synchronized displays. The Filipino concept of bayanihan, The cultural DNA of communal solidarity, of showing up together, of lifting one another, is operating here at a scale that is almost impossible to comprehend. They are not just going to watch a tennis match. They are going to show the world who they are. Now consider what this means for the actual tournament atmosphere. The Porsche Tennis Grand Prix is one of the most respected events on the WTA calendar. It is known for its indoor clay surface, its elite field, its luxury branding, and, until now, its composed, knowledgeable, politely applauding European audience. That tradition is about to be shattered into a million pieces. When Alexa walks out onto that court, the sound that greets her will not be polite applause. It will be a wall of noise that rattles the rafters. There will be drums. There will be chants. There will be flags so large they cover entire seating sections. German fans are no strangers to passion. Their football stadiums are legendary. But a Filipino takeover of a WTA indoor tennis tournament? That is an entirely different category of experience. Players on the other side of the net from Alexa are going to feel every unforced error amplified tenfold by 60,000 voices. Every winning shot she hits will produce a roar that spills out of the arena and echoes through the city streets. We have seen what Filipino crowds can do in boxing arenas around the world when Manny Pacquiao walked in. We have seen them transform hostile basketball venues into home courts for the Gilas Pilipinas national team. Now, for the first time in history, that same overwhelming energy is being unleashed into the white-gloved world of professional tennis. It will never be the same again. Professional tennis is, at its core, a lonely sport. Week after week, players travel the globe, often knowing nobody in the city, sitting alone in locker rooms, battling not just opponents but their own mental fatigue, their own doubts, the creeping isolation of life on tour. For most young players trying to find their footing, that weight is real and it is heavy. Alexa's Stuttgart experience will be the exact opposite of that reality. She is about to play the biggest home game of her career in a country that is not her home. The moment she steps through the tunnel and sees 60,000 of her countrymen on their feet, something happens to an athlete that no amount of coaching or preparation can replicate. That adrenaline surge is instant. It is visceral. It cuts straight through exhaustion and doubt and reminds you, in the most overwhelming way possible, exactly who you are fighting for. She has been trained for high-pressure moments by some of the sharpest minds the sport has ever produced. She has proven repeatedly that she does not fold when the stakes rise. She rises with them. So rather than being crushed by the weight of 60,000 expectations, she is far more likely to absorb all of that energy, weaponize it, and walk onto the court as something her opponents have never actually faced before, an athlete who feels genuinely, deeply, completely at home. Beyond the spectacle and the emotion, Stuttgart is sending a message that the business of professional tennis cannot afford to ignore. For decades, the sport's biggest commercial interests have been pointed squarely at European and North American markets. Southeast Asia has been treated as secondary. An emerging audience? A nice-to-have. That calculation ends here. When an unseeded player generates the kind of ticket demand, television attention, and social media volume that Alexa is generating right now, corporate sponsors notice immediately. When 60,000 fans mobilize across an entire continent for a single athlete, broadcast executives start rethinking their scheduling priorities. Alex Eala is not just a tennis player anymore. She is a commercial phenomenon, a one-person demographic event. Her presence in any draw guarantees a wave of viewership, merchandise revenue, and media coverage that players ranked far above her simply cannot produce. The result of this will be lasting and structural. Expect to see her receiving more wild card entries into prestigious events. Expect prime-time scheduling built around her matches. Expect major sponsors lining up, not just to put their logos on her kit, but to access the enormous, deeply engaged Filipino audience she carries with her everywhere she goes. The business of tennis is about to recalibrate, and Stuttgart is where it starts. But the impact that matters most will not show up in a sponsorship contract. It will show up on a tennis court in Manila, in Cebu, in Davao, in the farthest corners of the Philippine archipelago, in barangays where kids have been watching sports heroes on cracked screens and daring to believe that maybe, just maybe, one of those heroes could look like them. When a young Filipino girl turns on her phone and sees footage of 60,000 of her people filling the streets of a sophisticated German city, cheering for someone who grew up speaking the same language, eating the same food, carrying the same flag, something shifts inside her. A door opens that did not feel open before. Tennis stops being a foreign sport played by foreign people on foreign soil. It becomes proof that they belong there. Not as grateful participants, as the main event. Rackets will be picked up, courts will fill, coaches will get calls from parents of children who could not stop watching. That ripple will travel for years. Take a breath and consider the full picture of what we are about to witness. A teenager from the Philippines, trained in Spain, competing in Germany, followed by 60,000 people from across an entire continent. She carries with her not just a racket and a game plan, but the collected dreams, the accumulated sacrifices, and the unbreakable pride of 100 million people watching from home. That is not athletic pressure. That is something closer to a calling. For whoever stands across the net from her in Stuttgart, the situation is simple, and it is daunting. You are not playing a tennis match. You are stepping into a country that has temporarily relocated itself to southern Germany. You are playing against a crowd that has traveled thousands of miles and will not be quiet, will not be polite, and absolutely will not go home without a fight. Whether Alexa lifts the trophy or not, the victory is already real. The Philippines has not just entered professional tennis. They have announced themselves, loud, proud, unmistakable, and impossible to look away from. Stuttgart will remember this. The WTA will remember this. And every young kid who watches this unfold, who sees those 60,000 flags and hears that roar, will remember it most of all. Sporting history does not always announce itself with fanfare before it happens, but this time it is. And we are all lucky enough to be watching in real time.